Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome back to the next episode of Sports Talk with Hawk. Today, we are going to go over the defensive line. We're going to go over the edge, defensive end, defensive tackles, what position I think the guys are going to be best at the NFL level after they get drafted here in, just a week at this point, just over a week. So come on, let's see what we got coming down the road. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back in. And for those of you that watched the offensive line one, yes, I'm still wearing the same thing. Just got back from soccer practice. Figured I'd record again before I go take my showers. An absolutely great night of practice. Everybody's on the same page as we head into this weekend with our first games. So it's been a good day. So I figured, you know what, let's keep it rolling, do another podcast, record this for Tuesday. So yes, I am recording this Monday night. That's why it looks like it's almost the exact same. All right, so let's jump into this. We're going to do the edge first. Now, edge is now multiple things. It used to be an edge rusher was basically just a defensive end, but now an edge is your old 34 outside linebackers. So Sean Merriman would have been considered an edge in today's NFL, kind of like how Micah Parsons is considered an edge. He's not an outside linebacker. He's not a defensive end. He's an edge. So it's a hybrid position. But when we go through this, it's going to be which position do I feel they're going to play at the next level. Every single one of these are rated for both end and edge. Which position do I think they'll play? And how do they fit into different schemes? So here we go, starting off with the edge, hoping this podcast will be a little bit faster. I want to keep it around 20 to 25 minutes, so let's jump into it. Here we go. So number one is obviously Abdul Carter. I think he is a straight-up edge player. He's going to play a lot like Micah Parsons, but I believe he is technically better. Parsons has the speed. He's got a little bit better speed than Abdul Carter does when it comes to off the edge. But I think the quickness and the run blocking ability goes to Abdul Carter. That's why if the Browns were to draft Abdul Carter and have Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter, I don't think there would be any argument that that is a top 5 edge end setup in the NFL. Very few teams could beat that. He is, to me, a 100%. And I know nothing's 100%. I hear everybody screaming that isn't possible. He works hard. He has better technical skills than Micah does. Micah's in Dallas. He's on TV all the time. The reality is he gets lost. When teams run at him, when they play the Lions, you don't even know Micah Parsons is on the field. When you played the Vikings, you didn't even know he was on the field. When you played the Ravens, you didn't know he was on the field. Micah Parsons is nobody when a team runs on the Cowboys. Basically, he is a little bit worse than Dwight Freeney when it comes down to it. Dwight Freeney always had that mantra of he could only rush the passer. So did Robert Mathis. And the reality was, Colts fans hated it at the time, but it was true. Because of how he played, he was worthless as a run blocker. Worthless as a run stuffer. Absolutely. Parsons is the same. If he played as an outside linebacker more often, I think he could make a lot of tackles on the edge when plays get bounced outside. But run game, I'd run it at Micah 9 out of 10 times. Absolutely. I'd run it at him 100%, almost 100% of the time because he can't stop the run. Carter does not have that issue. Carter is technical enough to be able to stand his ground, move the guy off of him, and be there to at least create the edge and turn the play back in if he has to. But he's also quick enough that if he needs to cover a running back in the flat, he can cover the back in the flat. He's going to be able to drop into some zones. He'll get 2 or 3 interceptions through his career because he's just going to be there. Now, my second guy for edge is absolutely James Pierce, and I think he needs to be in a 34 defense without a doubt. This was my issue with the Colts drafting Latu last year. Latu does not belong in a 43 defense. He's a complete outside linebacker. He's tall, but he's an outside linebacker. Like, we watched the New England Patriots, and I understand the whole different era thing. But we watched Mike Vrabel, we watched Nikovic, we watched Roosevelt Coleman, then we watched Terrell Suggs, we watched James Harrison. We watched these guys that were on the edge where you're not going to have them put their hand on the ground. But they're tall, they're fast, their length is what is their weapon. James Pierce is 6'5", 243 pounds. He has got some very quick lateral movement. The injuries slightly, and I do mean very slightly, bother me, but not much. This kid is a guy that we don't know what the ceiling's going to be, but I think the floor is just a simple outside linebacker edge in a 34 that just has a solid career. He may be rated between 82 and 85 in Madden his entire career, and you'd be happy about it. He will produce. He will be a starter day one. He can just play the position. And I really like how James Pierce plays. Playing at Tennessee, he played against tough competition. That works. I love players that play in divisions or in conferences with tough competition, but you're not on that team. That's the one that is the tough competition. You're on the team that's trying to beat the tough competition. It makes you play harder, and it really shows what you are. Now, Joel Klatt is somebody I highly respect in the college football world. He doesn't do rankings haphazardly. He likes Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. I wish I could like Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. There's not enough tape. He's 6'6", 290 pounds. The injuries really bother me with him. And I know in the NFL, because of how often injuries derail teams, there are going to be plenty of teams that are afraid to draft him. But he is the first one who I believe is a true defensive end player in the NFL. 6'6", 290, ran a 4.59. He's not slow. He is big, he is strong, and I think he can really anchor at his highest potential. He could anchor a defensive line and play a role of like a Jason Taylor. I miss Jason Taylor playing. I really do. I really miss Jason Taylor. He was a outstanding defensive end for the Miami Dolphins for years. I miss him. He's kind of got some Javon Curse with his size as well. He's got some Javon Curse, Leonard Little type qualities to what he does. Bigger defensive end. I wouldn't move him into the middle. I really wouldn't. He's not 300 pounds. The only team in history that would probably do that stupidity would have been the Indianapolis Colts because we put 280-pound guys in the middle. I don't think he needs to be in the middle. He can be your edge, and he's going to get probably 5 to 7 sacks a year, but you're going to feel him in the run blocking more than in the pass blocking. And you're going to feel him with some pressures more than sacks. So I like Shamar Stewart. I just can't like him as much as some other people do with the injuries. I don't like the injuries. I've heard people bounce back. Yeah, but it's been consistent. I don't like consistent injuries, but I do love a 296 foot 6 pound defensive end. So I'm caught in the middle because I want to really like him. I believe his potential's way up here, but I believe the injury bug could make his floor. He could be out, and he may only play 2 seasons out of 5. All right, number 4 for me is Jack Sawyer. Yes, I know it's awful high, but it's because I believe he's an edge, and it's because he is very, very smart. Very smart. You will not outsmart Jack Sawyer on the edge. He can cover your tight end. He can cover your running back. He can read the zone. He could read the blitz. The screen. He can read the quarterback option. I like Sawyer as an edge, primarily because of his ability to decipher. He is so smart. How many times have we seen the smart players just stick around because they're there? Somehow, they are where they are supposed to be. Jack Sawyer, to me, is one of those players. I think he is too smart. I believe he's going to get drafted higher than people think, just because there are many teams that just want smart players. Because if they have smart players in a complex defense, they don't feel they have to train them as much. They don't feel like there's going to be as much of a hurdle. I hate saying this, but I think the Eagles could draft Sawyer. I think the Eagles could draft Sawyer, and they would love to have him. And I think it would be a great pick for them, but we'll see what happens. Now, the other pick, number 5 for me, is Mike Green. To me, Mike Green has probably the second best pass rushing ability of the edge rushers there is. Now, he's 6'4", 250 pounds. Normally, I would say that's probably going to be more of an edge, but I think he can actually play end because he plays bigger than what he actually is. And in games against bigger tackles, Josh Simmons primarily, in games against those types of tackles, then he was able to make big plays. Because he was able to make big plays, I like what he's going to do at the NFL level. I think it will fully work. I think it will do everything you need him, or he will do everything you need him to do. Because of that, I would absolutely draft Mike Green even above Jack Sawyer. If you want a defensive end, a traditional defensive end. Yeah, he's a little bit smaller. Normally I don't like it, but I think he plays the end position really, really well. Because he doesn't have great, he ran a 4.6. I don't think he's got a great long distance speed for you to put him in a lot of coverage, but I think he's going to be that guy in a zone blitz. He'll take the guy in the flat, and he's got long enough arms where I think he'll be the guy that can just make that deflection, getting over his jumping ability. He's got a really good vertical. Mike Green, to me, is absolutely one of those players that I could easily see being drafted in the mid-20s and being really productive. Atlanta, Cincinnati, maybe even a Green Bay. I think he's got that potential. All right, so those are my 5 defensive end / edge. Let's go into the defensive tackles. None of these are going to surprise you. I almost fully agree with what most everybody else says. So I'm going to give you my top 5 real quick, and then I'll give you 2 sleepers to watch out for. Mason Graham, number 1. He's a top 5 pick. Top 5 pick potential. He'll be drafted in the top 10. Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan. 6'3", 320 pounds. Great bull rush attack. Will absolutely translate to the NFL level. He is the most NFL ready defensive tackle prospect there is. And to me is a home run whoever drafts him. He may not be as dominant as Jalen Carter. May not be as dominant as Aaron Donald. But you're talking about a defensive tackle that will not give up. Mason Graham could be a Booger McFarland. Straight up simple. He could be a Kevin Williams. I think he's got the potential. He plays the size at defensive tackle. He plays like an Albert Haynesworth. Obviously, he's got better work ethic than Albert Haynesworth, but he plays like an Albert Haynesworth, a Marcus Stroud. We've had a lack of defensive tackles come in outside of Georgia recently. T'Vondre Sweat, last year, if you guys remember, I really liked Sweat. Putting him next to Jeffrey Simmons, I thought in Tennessee was going to help him. He was okay. He didn't really break out. His work ethic showed up early in the year. He was better later. So there's definitely been, defensive tackle wise, there hasn't been a ton to choose from, which is why guys are still getting drafted, or guys are still getting signed when they're 32 years old to be tackles. And that's the issue. But I do think Mason Graham, absolutely top 10, done. Walter Nolen from Mississippi, 6'3", 305 pounds. I believe that he is a burst tackle. He is the guy that if you want to stop a straight up the middle run, I think he's got the quick first step, a little bit faster than Mason Graham, but he doesn't have the body type or the ability with the technical skill as a run blocker. Walter Nolen is your pass rushing tackle, which means if you already have a defensive tackle that's really good at stopping the run, Walter Nolen is a complementary defensive tackle too. Perfect. It doesn't always have to be a number one. The biggest issue that I have is when everybody's like, is he a number one starter? Who cares? You've got two guards. You've got two defensive tackles. You got two defensive ends. You got two offensive tackles. You got three wide receivers, two tight ends depending on the offense, two running backs now in most offenses, minimum three corners, three safeties. Like, it doesn't have to be a number one. You just have to be able to play. Do you fit being able to play in the scheme in the NFL? Walter Nolen, to me, is the more pass rush ready defensive tackle. Quick first step. I like his swim move. I think he's going to have that ability early on. He'll be the one that can get in the backfield. While the other defensive tackle has two blockers on him, Walter Nolen could be in the backfield stopping that 3rd and 1 halfback dive. So that's my view on Walter Nolen. Kenneth Grant, the other defensive tackle from Michigan, is bigger. 6'3", 340 pounds. A run stopper. This is a guy on the opposite end of the spectrum. If you have a guy who's really good at being able to rush the passer, you draft Kenneth Grant to stop the run. 340 pounds of stopping the run. I love it. I love it. We finally have, and it's due to Jim Harbaugh. I'm going to give Jim Harbaugh, Jesse Minter, a lot of credit on this. Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant are products of Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. They are very good. Kenneth Grant could get drafted late in the draft. To me, I'd love to see Kenneth Grant in Buffalo. I would love to see Kenneth Grant in Buffalo. Ed Oliver and Kenneth Grant. I think that combination would really propel the defensive line for the Buffalo Bills. Another team I could see it for, he's big enough to be a 34. I wouldn't leave him on his own. I really wouldn't, but I could see the Steelers getting him if he were to fall and trading up to get him in the early 2nd round. I don't think he's going to fall, especially with how this is. Atlanta may draft him, depending on who's there, what they want to do. The reality is Kenneth Grant is amazing at run stopping. He doesn't have the same burst as Mason Graham to get through the line. You're not drafting him for that. Who cares about that? He can block the run. And if you've got a defensive tackle who's a little bit smaller, that is better at pass rushing from the defensive tackle slot, you draft Grant to stop the run. All right, number 4, Derek Harmon, 6'5", 310 pounds, from Oregon. Same thing as Nolen. He doesn't necessarily possess the same quick first step as Nolan, which is why he drops down the list. But he absolutely does fit a rush defensive tackle. And many teams would be happy to have that. 6'5". He does have. So when you watch the tape with Oregon, he is able to stunt, and he's comfortable with stunting, which is very good because the NFL is doing a lot more of it. It's the only thing they're using to confuse the offensive line. Standing up confuses the offensive line by itself. The stunts are the biggest way that they use to confuse the offensive line. Derek Harmon, I think, can stunt really well. Put him in a defense where he needs to come from the front, move around. He's got decent speed. He ran a 4.9. He's got decent speed to then stunt outside and get the rush on the other side of the offensive line. I think he is just a simple, solid starter that you can throw in there as your second defensive tackle. You can draft him at the end of day one, but my guess is going to be early day two is when we'll see Derek Harmon come off the board. Now, the last one, there could be a little bit of controversy potentially with the last one, but my thought is on this. His combination of speed and size really impresses me. So Tyleik Williams from Ohio State, okay, 327 pounds, 6'3", but he ran a 4.68. So you get, this is a potential pick. TJ Sanders from South Carolina would probably be the more prototypical. He's a little bit smaller. He's only 295. It is going to be more the consensus. I'm going off of potential here. You look at those numbers, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It sounds like an Aaron Donald type player. Now, I do not want to put that sticker on anybody, okay? But that's what it screams. He ran a 4.7 at 6'3", 327 pounds. That is the combination of size and speed that would be lethal at the NFL level if it's coached up correctly. I love Tyleik Williams as a prospect. Day two, I would trade up in the top 10 to draft Tyleik Williams if I got, let's say I'm Atlanta. Atlanta we know is going all defense. So let's say I'm Atlanta and I drafted Shamar Stewart with my first pick. I've got my defensive end. I need help in the middle though. I don't know if Tyleik is going to get past the other 4 teams in front of me, 5 teams in front of me. I'm going to go draft him at number 8 in the second round, 8 to 10 in the second round. He'd be worth it. The potential is there. The size is there. And I think that's what teams are going to be looking at in the second round. You're going to be looking at, well, this guy's just got that potential. And if we're running a pass rush style defense, Tyleik's speed will matter. I think he's a legitimate threat as a pass rush, and he could easily play every down. I think he could be a 3-down, underrated defensive tackle. You're not going to know how. You're not going to know what it really brings to the table, but the coaches are going to watch somebody who's just playing. Just playing. I can put him in there for 3 downs straight. He'll just play. And he may make a play on one of them. He may affect one other play. And that third play, he may just take up 2 blockers for somebody else to make a play. That's how this guy can be. Tyleik Williams is my number 5 in the defensive tackle, primarily because of potential, because if he is coached up correctly, I think the Chargers, look out for the Chargers to draft him. I think he is the guy Jim Harbaugh will want as well. He played against him. I know they recruited him. Look out for potentially the Chargers to draft Tyleik Williams. They may trade up in the second round. There's a lot of different things that can go on. TJ Sanders is easily for me number 6. Easily for me number 6. He could have been 5. I like Williams' potential better. All right, let's close this out. We're sitting right at time. So let's give you a couple of, I'll just give you 2. I'll give you two sleepers at the defensive tackle position. Deon Walker, 6'6", 345 pounds, from Kentucky. He doesn't pass rush very well. He reminds me of big old Sam Adams, Gilbert Brown, Pat Williams. Like, this is who this guy reminds me of. This guy loves to eat. Now, he will eat up blocks. And do I think he's necessarily going to be a starter? Probably not necessarily a three. He's not a three-down starter, that's for sure. But do I think this guy could come into a team and beef up their defensive line? Oh, of course he can. He doesn't do great against pass rush, but he does have very good maneuverability in the run stuffing game. He can get where he needs to be. He's tall enough, big enough, obviously. He's hard to move, and he's got good power in his legs. So look out for Deon Walker, absolutely, potentially even day 2. I'm going to say maybe day 3 because I think day 2 could be a lot of offensive line players, potentially corners. And then day 3 will then move back into finishing out the rest of the defense. He could go in the 3rd round. He could. He could go in the 3rd round. But I'm going to say if it's late 3rd round, early 4th. But he doesn't do good against pass rush. Or he does not pass rush well. But he runs stuffs amazingly well. So Deon Walker for me is a sleeper. And then another sleeper, and this is based off of the fact that I got to watch this guy all the time. Yes, this is bias. I am biased with this one, so if you're going to claim it, I will fully agree. I love CJ West from IU. I love CJ West from IU, and I think he is going to be a complimentary defensive end and defensive tackle. 6'2", 320 pounds, was one of the foundations on that IU defensive line this past season. He plays really well. He is really good in one gap attacking front, so he's going to have to be in a 4-3, not a 3-4. If you put him in a 34, he'll be an end with an outside linebacker potentially disrupting the blocking technique on the outside of him if he rushes. I do absolutely believe CJ West is going to be a surprising player in the NFL. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's got great skills. He runs, ran an under 5. It was a 4.95 40. He's got a little bit of speed, quickness, great first step. That's what you notice in every IU game. Great first step. He is explosive off the ball. He is definitely one of my sleepers and partially biased. I love West. Absolutely love West. Now, I'm going to give you my favorite one and we're going to close. Desmond Watson. 465-pound Desmond Watson. 6'5", 465 pounds. Ran a 5.92. This is Gilbert Brown and Pat Williams put together. This guy, I can't wait for him to get drafted. I really can't, because I know there are certain defensive coordinators that will use him in the way that he can be used. He's my favorite guy just because I love the guys that are going to get doubted. Like, how can he play football? How can he do this? That's what a lot of people are questioning about Watson. It's coming from Florida. Listen, you're not going to move him. I mean, does he have mostly boom or bust potential? Yeah. But why not draft the 465-pound guy that you know 2 people are going to take to block? That's just my view. All right, guys. Defensive line is done. Offensive line is done. So we only got a few positions left. And obviously, over the next couple days, we'll take care of that. This is now for you guys. This is Tuesday night heading into Wednesday. Hopefully the first 2 days of the week have treated you well. Make Wednesday the best day that you can. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow night with another episode. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. Make sure to subscribe, like the podcast, and as always, I deeply appreciate it. Until tomorrow night, guys, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great evening.